So if you ever feel down, depressed, don't feel like doing anything, feel like giving up, feel like you're worthless, you feel like you're a loser, you feel like you're never gonna make it, if you ever felt that point, or you're there right now, I know it's a very tough point to be at, and I wanted to make this video because we all go through those times, and certainly I went through a hell of those times. And in the past, that's where I used to just give up, was at that moment where I would wake up and felt like shit, didn't feel like doing anything, right? And you know what I think separates the good from the great, from the champions, is how those people deal with the days where they don't feel like it. Because everyone, when you feel like it, it's easy. You could just go out there and do the thing. But it's the days that you don't feel like it. It's the days that say, I network a lot, I drive a lot, I walk to different meetings, and there's days where it's pouring rain, this morning, yesterday, and typically on those days in the past, I would be like, oh my God, it's like, half the tire is water, and some areas, right? And it's like, I'd rather just stay home. What if my car sinks or this or that? But I was like, no, I gotta push through. But I wanted to share how I got to this point, because certainly I was not born with whatever it took to push through those points and ultimately achieve some success, right? It's very simple, and I wish I knew this, growing up. And if you're a parent or want to become a parent, this is a very important point to not only instill in yourself, but then within your children. And when I have kids, I'm going to instill this point within every single one, and the word is discipline. But now, what does that word really mean? Everyone says that, but it goes into many different forms. Now, one aspect I'm going to share, which could relate to on those days that you don't feel like it, how you could still push yourself, and then you could apply it to business, relationships, health, fitness, and all those different areas. There's a word that I want you to look up, and it takes 20 seconds to look it on Google and read what it says. It's called minimum viable effort, right? Minimum viable effort. For me, and I saw that word in a random YouTube video that was about reading books, and that stood out to me, and I looked it up, and once I started applying that to my life, it's like everything clicked. And that point of when I fell down, that was the key that kept me going. And what that means, minimum viable effort, is what is the most minimum thing you could do to build the habit so that you could then expand upon the habit. Meaning, let's say if you wanna, let's say you never flossed your teeth before, you'll start with flossing just one tooth, right? For you, what is the most minimum thing that you feel stupid not doing it? So you start with flossing one tooth, and then you do that for a week, and then you floss two teeth. And then by that point, it becomes a habit of you going up there, taking the floss, flossing, throwing it out, boom, you're done. And it's normally that activity that we resist because it's not a habit, it's not part of us, right? And our mind wants to do things that is automatic, where we don't have to think about it. But if you are trying to do a new thing where you have to think about it, it could become exhausting initially. So now, part of that minimum viable effort, take the creating habits and all that out of it. I want you to focus on the point of, let's say you're building, well, there's something you're focused on right now that you're in the middle of, you don't feel like doing it and you feel depressed, kind of. Whether it's working out, whether it's, I don't know, maybe creating content. I know some people who watch this, they create their own content. Maybe it's building your business. Maybe you have to give more presentations. Maybe you have to talk to more people. It could be anything, right? Maybe you have to reach out to more people. But I want you to, on the days where you don't feel like it, first of all, don't judge yourself. Meaning, for me, one thing that would make me feel really worse on those days was thinking about all my friends and colleagues, and I'm around some very high achievers, that thought that, oh, right now they're out there crushing it and I'm here feeling depressed. And it would make me feel even worse because I was comparing myself to them and thinking, oh, I'm not doing anything and they're out there crushing it, and that would make me feel even worse. So first, you have to understand you're not competing within, don't compare yourself. You can have healthy competition, but if you compare yourself from that aspect, it does more harm than good, right? You become more depressed because you're like, I'm not doing it. And one story within that helped was, I was listening to Joel Osteen years ago, the pastor, Lakewood here. It's not far from where I'm driving, Lakewood. But he told one story, and it was the story of, and he was talking about, like, you know, going for your destiny, not competing with other people because you'll miss your own destiny trying to compare yourself with others. And he was saying one day he was going for a run, and there was like an older guy way down there, you know, and he was jogging, not really going fast. And then Joel Osteen was like, you know what, I bet I could race and beat him in the race. And he, like, a race he made up in his own mind, right? And I do even that sometimes in my head. And, like, I see people and I create competition. Oh, I bet I could walk faster or whatever, you know, silly things. So he starts running and eventually passes the older guy. But then, and he gets happy that he won and everything. But then he realizes that he missed the turn, the street he was supposed to turn on to go home. He missed that street by like a couple blocks, right? And now he had to go all the way back to then take his turn. And the moral of the story was, because he tried to compete with this older guy, he missed his turn. He missed his destiny, right? So now for you, that was one thing for me I had to really get clear on, is like, okay, I'm not running anyone's race. This is my process, and it takes time to get out of that. We've been all programmed to not be high performers. We haven't even been programmed to be average performers. We've all been programmed to just not think for ourselves, not do anything for ourselves, just copy what other people tell us, and have very little willpower. So it takes time to get out of that programming, right? So that was one point, during those down times, not comparing myself. And then the second point was, during those times, I would do the most minimum thing. Let's say if my goal was to go work out, right? The goal on the days where either I don't feel like it at all or didn't want to do it, I was like, let me just do one push-up, or let me do one pull-up, or one simple thing. And then when I would do one, I was like, let me just do another one, and then let me just do another one. Before you know it, I'm there doing a whole 30-minute workout, right? But then there's days where I'm building a business so much that I don't get the chance to work out. So there, I have like a pull-up bar in my home, and each day at least I try to do a few pull-ups. Whether that does something or not doesn't matter. It's just keeping that habit, exercising that muscle of, I'm going to do it regardless of, no matter what. Let's say networking. If your goal is to reach out to other people, 10 people a day, 5 people a day, whatever it is, but then on one day you just feel depressed, guess what? Reach out to one person. Reach out to one person that you already know. It doesn't even have to be a new person, right? Just so that at least you're doing something. And typically that pushes you to then do more. And then eventually, when you understand this point that, oh, no matter what we do and how much we do it, we'll always go through those down points. Then by then you understand the motion, and you'll just go through the motion, get it done, and not involve your emotions anyway. And that's, you see the greats or the champions that keep showing up no matter what, and you're like, do these people ever feel a down point or go through down point? It's like, yeah, everyone goes through it. It's just those people know that that's part of the process, and they show up and do the work regardless. Because, and third point, don't think about perfection. All of us want things to be perfect, and we seek for perfection. And it's good to some extent, but then on the days that you don't feel like it, my belief is you should do things to the best of your ability. But when it comes to doing it to the best of your ability, and or when it comes to doing it to some of your best ability, not even the best, but just decent, versus not doing it at all, I pick the one that's decent, right? Because you don't want to break that habit. So on the days where you absolutely don't feel like it, do the most basic minimum thing you could think of. And again, I don't know what it is that you want to apply it to. It's always better having a mentor, having one-on-one, so you get that support one-on-one, and you know, maybe that person can support you through it. But yeah, you have to see what that is for yourself. And if you ever need any suggestion, you want to chat with me, all that, my Facebook, Instagram is in the description. And also, if this video helped you, share it with other people, and tell other people, hey, if you ever watch, I do this, I tell people, hey, if you ever watch a video that helps you, feel free to share it with me, and I'll save it to my watch later, and I'll watch it when I get a chance. So share it with them and tell them, hey, watch this whenever you get a chance, right? Add it to your watch later if you see it'll help them. So, because you never know who it'll help. But yeah, I'll leave it at that. Hope you go through whatever you're going through, if you are going through the downtime. And you can even save this video, and anytime you go through a down point, watch it again, and really instill this point. Sometimes I will watch YouTube videos 10 times, 5 times, just to get a point, and sometimes more than that, depending on what I'm going through, right? So I hope you make it through what you're going through, and do the most minimum, and know that you're more capable. If others have done what others have done, you can do also. And keep crushing the rest of your day, and don't compare yourself to others. All right, peace.